I had been dating Yuki for 6 months when she finally invited me to Sunday dinner with her family. My hands were sweating because this girl meant everything to me, and family approval was her whole world. On the drive, she warned me that they could be protective and that they spoke Japanese at home, so I shouldn't take it personally if they seemed cold. I nodded with my stomach in knots. What she didn't know was that Japanese was my first language. I'm half Japanese through my mom, but I inherited every single one of my Irish dad's genes. Pale skin, light eye, the whole package. People look at me and assume I'm just another white guy, and sometimes it's been easier to let them think that the Tanaka house felt warm and welcoming. Kiko's cooking filled the air, and she greeted me with a polite bow, an formal smile, and said, "Nice to meet you," in careful English. I replied, "The pleasure is mine, Tanaka-san," and that's when I heard it. The moment I turned toward her dad, I heard Kiko whisper to Yuki's aunt that this foreigner wouldn't last long, and that's when I knew the game had started. For the next hour, I smiled politely while they served me passive aggression Japanese when they thought I could understand, and English to my face, and they were brutal. Yuki's grandmother said while passing the rice, "Look at this foreigner, so pale and weak-looking." Her uncle muttered that I couldn't even hold chopsticks properly and had no manners. Yuki's cousin asked sweetly if I was enjoying the food and then whispered that I probably didn't even know what I was eating. I gritted my teeth and stayed quiet, telling myself to be polite and not cause a scene. Kiko refilled my tea and said this person is so rude he doesn't even try to learn our custom. The aunt added that I was probably making fun of Japanese culture. Every comment felt like a small cut, but I kept my mouth shut. Yuki tried to include me switching between languages, but the conversations kept drifting into fast Japanese that shut me out. Then Dad spoke to Yuki's brother like I wasn't even there and said, "This is what happens when daughters go to universities. They bring home gay jin who will never understand. Yuki is truly stupid for dating someone who doesn't even speak our language. How can there be real love without communication?" My jaw clenched, and then Kiko added that Yuki was wasting her life on someone who couldn't even talk. Her family, my chest burned. I had taken insults about my appearance, my manners, and my culture, but calling Yuki stupid for loving me crossed every line. Then Yuki's 8-year-old niece came running in with tears streaming down her face, her knee scraped and bleeding. She cried, "Uncle Tommy, it hurts. I fell. There's blood." And that's when I decided I was done being polite. I picked her up and spoke in fluent Japanese, and suddenly every conversation stopped. Chopsticks froze in midair. I carried her to the kitchen, and as I cleaned her scrape, my voice carried back into the room, saying my grandmother always said that a family's kiss is the strongest medicine. When I returned, 15 pairs of eyes stared at me like I had risen from the dead. Her father whispered, "Since when do you speak Japanese?" I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Since I was born." Kiko's face went white, and he asked, "So you heard?" And I replied, "Everything." I switched to perfect Japanese and told them I heard how I'm just another weak, pale gaijin with no manner, how I can't use chopsticks, and how I'm making fun of their culture. But what hurt the most was hearing them call the woman I love stupid for choosing. The room fell into complete silence. I told them my name is Jacob Yamamoto Okada. My mother is Yamamoto Michiko from Kyoto. I was raised speaking both languages and spent my summers with my Obachan, and yes, I know authentic Japanese culture. Yuki's grandmother stood up with tears in her eyes and said, "Tommy-kun, I'm so sorry." I stayed quiet to show respect, and then continued even when you talked about me like furniture, and questioned whether I could truly love Yuki. Her little niece tugged my shirt and said, "Tommy-oji-san, tell them about Obachan's garden." I looked around the table and then at Yuki, who was staring at me like she'd never seen me before, and I said, "Maybe another time." I kissed Yuki's forehead and told her I was going home and that they had family business to handle. 2 days later, her dad called and said, "Jacob-kun, we owe you an apology. Please come back this week. Miko wants to make her Obakan's katsu." And I laughed and said, "Only if you keep speaking Japanese, because I'm dying to tell you about the time my Obakan chased door-to-door salesman with a bamboo broom." That weekend, her niece introduced me as Tomioji-san, who speaks 2 languages and tells the best story. And her grandmother cried when she realized my Japanese was more formal than her grandchildren.